Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Super excited to be back with another video. And today, just gonna be, getting ready to go nowhere because I'm still staying at home for the most part. Well, getting ready. Normally when I do these makeup looks, I'll like go out and take pictures. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and I'm going to be taking some self-portraits or whatnot. So one, make sure you follow me on Instagram to see how those pictures turn out, and two, make sure you're subscribed to my channel because why not? And make sure you turn on that bell notification button so that you are the first to know when I drop new content. Great, yeah, so let's get into it. So normally when people do these first year recap videos, I'm going to be looking down because that's where my mirror is. But when people do these first year recap videos, it's usually like what I wish I had known before law school. And I thought about like, okay, what are the things that I wish I had known before law school? And like, not to boast or brag, but I think there were like so many of those what I wish I had known before law school videos that, like I knew a lot of the things that I now might say I wish I had known. So all that's to say is instead of doing a what I wish I had known video, I'm gonna do like the things I had known that were beneficial or that worked well for me, or that like were actually true for me in law school. But I'm gonna be back because you can't talk while you do your eyebrows, and you know that. So I'm gonna do my brows. So yeah, I would say I'm going in with the P. Louise base basically. I always do my eyeshadows first. The first piece of advice that I thought was really helpful and that actually works, that I think is worth passing on, is to stay out of drama. And I know that sounds really weird. I think coming into law school, I came 2 years out of law school. By the way, check out my past video on why I took time off. And I think the advice I got about coming in was that, like, granted, people are older and like people are at various stages in their lives, but there's still drama that can happen, and like the stakes are a little different because the drama that you're having is with people who are going to be your colleagues in the future. And at first I was like, okay, that's like a little bit dramatic, but like I get it. I get it because it's professional school, right? Like this is no longer like rah rah, we came to party. Not that like anyone went to college to party, but it's just a different environment. And so like, and by drama I mean like it's like nerdy drama. Like it might be like nerdy drama, like, you know, how people are weird about grades or how people are weird about jobs. Just like a lot of that stuff. Sometimes honestly, and this goes to my next point. This is actually the whole entire point. Like, I don't know what examples of drama are because I stayed out of it. So that would be my biggest piece of advice, is to not involve yourself in drama. There are only so many lawyers in this country, and there are only going to be so many lawyers in the city that you're going to be working in, wherever you end up, right? Like there's a finite number of people who are going to know the law as a lawyer does, right? And so like what that means is you may need advice, or you may need someone to take a look at something, or you may need to just tap into a network that you want to make sure you didn't burn or that you didn't ostracize by your actions in law school. I know I look crazy right now, but just bear with me. I don't think I'm someone who even really involves myself in drama to begin with. Like I have an aversion to drama. But I think it was especially beneficial to just like kind of be like, I'm not interested in that. I'm going to be winging it and using the Colored Rain Safari Rain palette. It is new to me and old to the world. I think it's been out for a year, maybe more already, and they recently had their final restock of this product and I was able to get my hands on it. So that is exciting. It's really hard for me to talk while I'm doing my eye makeup as opposed to doing something else. So be right back. My look is sort of kind of done. I know it looks kind of crazy right now. It'll come together once I add lashes, which is always the case, but I basically used a transition shade clay as a transition shade, and then went in with the teal color. Let me actually just see what it's called. Went in with Jungle all over the lid, and used Matriarch, which is the dark brown color, just to like kind of smoke it out on the edges, but nothing too major. Gonna prime with the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer, which is my handy dandy go-to primer. And apologies for the sirens, which I hear very, very often. As you can probably see, I've been dealing with a lot of post-breakout hyperpigmentation. At this point, it is what it is. So as a result of my hyperpigmentation, I'm going to color correct. I've had this Black Up color corrector palette for a while. But I don't really use it, and it's literally a palette to color correct. So I'm gonna take a concealer brush and then just like mess around with the colors and put that all over the place. I will also say a good piece of advice, or something that worked well for me, was to prioritize the things or the extracurriculars that I actually wanted to do. So like I know, or it seems like from college, the vibe is to like do as many things as possible, even to some extent in high school, right? Like it's do a lot. The more you do, the better, because it'll look good or it'll look better on your resume or whatever the case may be. Obviously, like even the things that you do then, you want to make sure you're actually interested in, but like it's a lot easier to do many things because your time setup in college and high school looks very different. The workload might look different. So that's just like the way it is. I would say in law school, that is, for me, it wasn't a good look. And I came in and I was like, I'm only going to do one, maybe two organizations that work for me. And everything else will just kind of be a like, I'll go as I go through. I'll show up as an attendee or as a, you know, generally interested, but not committed, because there are only so many hours in the day, and I would rather spend my time on schoolwork. And yeah, so schoolwork, your first year of law school grades are like, your first year of law school classes are so rigorous that like, this is not going to be the time where you can be, you know, on this dance group and in this play and on this. Obviously those things don't exist in law school, but it's the same thing, like, you know, being a 1L rep for multiple organizations, as well as, you know, doing this and being on a moot court and doing all of those things. And I came in and thought to myself, I would really just rather do what is foundational, because that's where I am right now. That's not to say that like there aren't moot courts that will be perfect for you. That's just to say like I couldn't do everything. So I came in already like knowing that I wanted to be a general member of the Black Law Students Association. Now I am the secretary. And honestly, besides that and law review, I don't see myself having any other extracurricular commitments this upcoming year. Next, I normally set my primer and my color corrector with the Laura Mercier setting powder, so that's what I'm going to do. Sorry if my thoughts are kind of all over the place. I think I'm kind of just trying to talk on camera. So yeah, you're going to be listening to me talk on camera. So something that worked well for me was 1, staying out of drama, and 2, prioritizing and only engaging in extracurricular activities that I would actually be devoted to and committed to. Something that also worked well for me, I would say, was balancing my time with the things outside of law school that I wanted to do. If you let it, law school can take over your life. And that's not to say that you'll be spending 24 hours a day or 16 hours a day if you sleep 8 hours, which I highly suggest, which might be my next point. That's not to say that you can't fill up your day with just law school work. Trust me, there is enough work for you to spend 24 hours a day doing, and maybe still not even being done. and maybe you still won't even be done after that. But that is to say that, like, if you want to have a life outside of law school, if you want to get out of your campus quote unquote bubble, you can. You just have to prioritize it. So as someone who is from New York and goes to law school in New York, it was slightly easier for me to do those things because it was my home base in a way. So like, going to church on Sundays was something that I had to build in because I went to my home church, and that was an opportunity for me to see my family, which in a way kept me grounded and just really, like, you know, gave me a space to talk to people in person who just like were not at the law school or were not in law school. And also like church, I needed that. I'm going in with the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. And so, for example, I came in, one, knowing that Sundays would be carved out for going to church, and two, that I wanted to continue my blog. That's not to say that there weren't going to be sacrifices. So what that looked like for me was maybe I wasn't going to bar review on Thursdays, and I actually never went to bar review, but that's just a personal preference. Maybe I wasn't necessarily spending as much time getting to know my classmates outside of the classroom. And that was something, you know, that's just like, you know, that's a risk. That's a risk you take whenever you prioritize things outside of law school or outside of the classroom. But for me, it was fine because blogging was my outlet, and it was also something that was important for me. And at times it was a source of just like a very small income, maybe petty cash. So yeah, I think I was good, or something that worked well for me was just also having a life outside of law school. Basically, I would say make sure you have a life outside of law school. Also using the Born This Way concealer. And I'm gonna use probably one of my favorite contours, which is actually a foundation stick, the Makeup Revolution foundation stick in F18. I blend this out first because I like to let my concealer dry down. Yeah, so staying out of drama, only doing the things that I actually wanted to do, and finding things outside of law school that I could turn to or that could keep me sane and grounded. Something else that really worked well for me, or that I would do over again if I could. I didn't do as much of it as I know I should have, but I do think I did more than I ever have in the past, which is at least taking some time to get to know somebody, whether it's a professor or someone in your student services or something. Just get to know someone who is not a student. Is something that I would say. And I think people generally come into law school like knowing that that's something that they should do, not only for getting you through law school, but even for professional opportunities after the fact. So I think that that is something that people should do in law school, especially people of color, especially Black people. Something else that I think worked well for me, or that I had known before coming into law school, which like you theoretically know anywhere, is to try hard to not compare yourself to others. Like, of course, you never want to compare yourself to others, or like you only want to do it in a healthy way if that's what you're going to do. But I like seriously mean that, because you really just like, you have no clue. You have no clue about, people only show you, or people only tell you as much as they want to let you know. So the person who is, you know, always raising their hand in section, or, you know, always waiting to talk to the professor after class or whatever, you don't actually know if they know the material, or you don't actually know if all those questions and commentary translated to a better grade on the exam. Sometimes it may, sometimes it may not. Honestly, grading in law school is a totally separate topic, but all I'm going to say right now is your grade doesn't necessarily reflect how hard you work, but whatever. But yeah, I think comparing yourself to others, and so I really try not to do that often, primarily because like, what's the purpose, or what is that going to get me other than being stressed? And I didn't want to be stressed. I don't want to be stressed. Using one of my favorite setting powders, which is the Beauty Bakery setting powder. I don't know if you can see, but it's more or less almost done. Another thing that I think really was important that worked well for me was prioritizing sleep. I do not, and this kind of relates to a previous topic, but I don't take pride in not getting enough sleep, because if I am not getting enough sleep, it usually means that I did not manage my time well. So if that's meant that I stop in the middle of a reading and go to sleep because I'm no longer productive, then that's basically what that meant. Sorry, you know when you get to certain places on your face and you're like, yeah, I can't talk. That's what that was. While this bakes, I'm going to bronze with the Mented Cosmetics bronzer in Yacht Life. And I'm also going to get my lashes ready with the glue. I really like this bronzer though, I can't lie to you. Lashes are on. I just used a random batch of AliExpress lashes that I own. So after bronzer, I'm going to use pretty much is my favorite blush, my NARS blush in Exhibit A, a nice red shade. Highlighting with Becca Cosmetics highlighter in Chocolate Geode. For lips, my usual go-to is Buxom lip cream in White Russian. Just do a compass, one swipe or two over. Setting spray is my normal go-to, which is also the Urban Decay De-Slick. And I just, you know, bounce it around. And this, you guys, is the final look. Thank you so much for watching. I know that was a tad bit convoluted and kind of all over the place because I was just talking as I was getting ready, but I still hope this video was helpful for anyone who is starting grad school or starting law school in particular, especially in this time where a lot of schools have already made the decision or are continuing to make the decision to be virtual. I know things are going to be very different this upcoming school year, but still I hope this video was helpful, and thank you for watching, and thank you in advance for subscribing, because of course you did that. Of course you did. Yeah. See you next time. Bye.